Umutima wandi wasumina mulechitefya mulechitefisuma umutima wandi wasumina mulechitefya umutima wandi wasumina mulechitefya tamukokola yawe tamufilwa mwechilivo chakane yawe mulafikinisha ifila yo mwana ya abana benu eloine ndelolela Patricia William Mwewa ni yawe Tani chinga tani mefa yo Mulete tefibia Mulete tefisuma Umutima wadi wasumina Mulete tefibia.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your very busy schedule to be with me for a few minutes this morning. You know, this morning, when I posted earlier that I was going to do this at 10 o'clock, one of our viewers, let me adjust this so that I don't lean forward. One of our viewers suggested to me that, Mr. Mwewa, you should do these broadcasts of yours late at night, let's say 21 hours. And that's a good idea. The only trouble with that is that, you know, I have to now stay awake at 21 hours to address you guys. Guys, do you know what I'm doing at 21 hours? I'm falling asleep. I'm half asleep at 21 hours. I don't want to go live from my home at 21 hours. Do you have any idea how much trouble I'd be in to do that? But it's a good idea. It's just, you know, it's a bit of it's a bit of hard work, if you ask me. You know, so the consolation, the great thing about Facebook Live is that even if you don't have people that watch your live show or your live broadcast, they can catch it on the repeat. That's the wonderful thing about Facebook Live. The trouble is sometimes we get caught up in numbers. You know, we all want to have huge numbers watching us live. It's an ego thing. It's an ego trip. And that's fine, you know, and if that's your thing, you know, you're fine to do that. It's just that sometimes, you know, sitting in your house at 20, and it works for some people. I'm not knocking it, because I know some of you in the comments are going to start saying, Mr. Mwewa, so what? I mean, your friends do it at 21 hours. That's fine. And they're fine to do it. And they do such an amazing job at doing it at 21 hours, coming to you live on their live broadcasts at 21 hours. Anyway. Well, guys, thank you so much. Let me shout out, you know, a few shout outs to you. Samuel Banda. Yes, I concur with you. Start doing them at 21 hours, he says. Okay. Samuel Kayela Banda, doing what? Live broadcasts, Samuel. We're talking about live Facebook broadcasts. Okay. That's what we're talking about. Somebody's watching us from Bangalore. Are you serious? Are you telling me that there's someone out there in Bangalore, in India, that is watching this broadcast? Unbelievable. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Welcome. Welcome to all of you. Lakson Chishimba Jr. II says, Naine, also me. Also me. I also. You know who used to say that? he used to say it in such an emphatic way. The late President Michael Sata was once asked the question on a television show. He was a guest on one of the shows on ZNBC. And the moderator asked him, said, "But Mr. Sata, why do you want to be president?" And his response was, "I also want to be president." For those of you that knew Mr. Sata, he had a very unique way of saying the word also. He never said also. He would always say, I also want to be president. I love that. Okay, all right, because I know some of you are going to start jumping on here. And you do it every single time. And you guys never tire. You never weary when it comes to doing this. You do this all the time. Invariably, someone will jump on here and say to me, "Mwewa, can you please get to the point? Me, I've got work to do. And so my bundles are limited. Can you start now? Mwewa, can you just start?" And honestly, can I be honest with you? Sometimes I get a kick out of that. Sometimes I sort of ramble just so that I can see those comments. For some reason, they crack me up. I love them. Mwewa, just get to the point. All right, relax. Here we go. All right, today I'd like to bring something to you that may sound, on the outset, may sound a little controversial, but once I begin to unravel it, and once I begin to describe and sort of explain to you my line of logic. You know where I got that phrase from? I got that from my Pastor Walker. He says that. He says, "What is your line of logic?" So I want you to understand my line of logic. And once I get through it, I know that it'll be like the lights have come on. Once I explain to you my position, you are going to say to me, "Mr. Mwewa, you were not exaggerating. That is the absolute truth." It'll be like pulling back the curtains and showing something to you that you really didn't know was there. And I'm going to do that in a few minutes. Today we're discussing for a few minutes, and I'm not going to keep you long. I'll open the phone lines just to get your feedback, which I think is very important to do sometimes. But I'd like to talk to you about the biggest mistake Mr. Sata ever made. And this is huge. This is one of those mistakes that will always taint his legacy. Now, let's be frank and let's be honest. Many of you knew Mr. Sata, as did I. Mr. Sata was not only a personal friend, but he was a family associate. My family were very close to him, and I'm close to his children. I mean, we're friends. Not just friends, we're friends, you know? So I'm not trying to come at you or come to you from a sort of a negative point of view. No, not at all. I'm saying that to provide you context, just so that you know exactly where I'm coming from when I say what I say. I knew Mr. Sata for many years, and on occasion, before he became president, I used to go see him at his office over there at Farmer's House. He was, Mr. Sata was such a hoot. He was hilarious. I mean, literally, he would have you on the floor laughing. You would laugh so hard, they would have to scrape you up off the floor. He was hilarious. He had a great sense of humor. He was witty. He was sharp on his feet, And what amazed me about him was he had politics at the tips of his fingers. He knew the Zambian voter like the back of his hand. And that came to him not by osmosis. That came to him not by spontaneous combustion. It came to him through experience. I mean, every time he spoke with experience. And it was self-evident. And Of course, you know that Mr. Sata attempted to be president a few times before he actually became president. But let me change that. The biggest mistake he ever made was this. And I'm going to write it, I'm going to show it to you because I know many of you, you're thinking something that I'm not even fixing to say, but I'm going to lay it on the line for you. And the moment I tell you what this is, oh my goodness, you're going to say to me, Mr. Mwewa, it's true. That was his biggest mistake. It was. And I'm going to show it to you right now. And here it is. The late president, Mr. Michael Sata, who presided over this nation as president for a season, his biggest mistake Can you read that? I'm gonna set that there for a moment before I verbalize it. I want you, first of all, whomever you are and wherever you're watching us from, I want you first of all to read it, and then I will vocalize, I will verbalize it so that it sizzles in your spirit, so that it sinks in your cerebellum. Mr. Sata single-handedly destroyed the concept and the idea of the party membership card. Now, I'm fixing to give you guys some history. There are many of you that don't realize that there was a time in Zambian politics. Some of you don't even know this, especially you youngins, you young bucks, you young political thundercats. I see you. I know who you are, walking around here, prancing around here like you know a thing or two. But the truth is, there was a time in this country that party membership cards was a thing, and it was huge. The concept and the idea that you belonged, you legitimately belonged to a group. You identified with a sect, a group of people. You aligned yourself with a political thought and a political ideology. You held in your hand a not a voter's card, a party membership card, a card that said, "You're with us. You are one of us. You think the way we think. You believe what we believe. You and I are on the same page." The Word of God says, how can two walk together unless they be agreed? You and I agree because we belong to the same political party. How do we know that? Well, we both have the same political identity card. That was a huge thing in those days. And whenever you had, and naturally, that's the political process of the political evolutionary process of any country. Factions exist. Defectors exist. Breakaways exist. People that decide to go off on their own and decide to start their own political party. After Kaunda, when Bachiluba showed up on the scene, within the MMD, there were factions, people like Dean Mungomba. Some of you don't even remember who Dean Mungomba was, a brilliant man, a brilliant, well-educated political scientist. I mean, when you sat down with Dean Mungomba and you spoke to him for 10 minutes, you walked away knowing that you were in the presence of a political heavyweight. When Dean Mungomba started his political party, the big thing was cards, membership cards. When all these other guys started coming out of the woodworks with their political parties, the big thing was membership cards. You had a budget for creating membership cards. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Sata comes on the scene, and then he looks at the political landscape, and then he does something that had never been done before. He said, PF members don't need political cards. We don't need membership cards. Your membership is in your heart. It's in here. You don't need a card to show people that you belong to this group. It's in your heart. Now, at the time, it was politically convenient to introduce that concept. Because what it did was it allowed the electorate to say, you know what, it's true, I don't have to go out there and stand in line and identify physically and put my number down. And you were given a number, a membership number, a little booklet that had your photograph, your details, your NRC, your membership number. Mr. Sata, in one fell swoop, he got rid of that concept and said, Vane, you don't need a membership card. The membership card is in your heart. Now, here's the side effect to that. You have people like Innocent Kalimanshi, who claim to be a member of the Patriotic Front. He claims that. He holds fast to that. He says, no, I'm a member of the Patriotic Front, and there's not a thing you can do about it. On the other hand, there are members within the Patriotic Front that say, no, you're not a member of our party. You're a rogue. You're a lone wolf. You're a mole. You are an agitator. You're here to throw a spanner in the works. You're not one of us. And then again, on the other side, Innocent insists, no, I'm a member. Membership. Now, here's the problem with that. How do we know he's a member? How do the guys in the Patriotic Front know that Innocent is a member? They don't know. Why? Because there's no such thing as a membership card. People have done away with those. Anybody can stand up anywhere and say, I'm a member of so-and-so. Now, while that may be politically convenient, it's a political mess. It's a headache. It's a headache because anybody can just stand up and claim anything. That's the reason you got people like him who are not traceable in terms of their membership. All they have, if you associate, if you spend any amount of time, not that I've spent any amount of time, but Lusaka is such a small town and you hear things, okay? But if you spend any amount of time with Innocent, the two things that you will see very rapidly is the flag of the American flag and the flag of the Patriotic Front. You will never see him with a Zambian flag. That's not even in his vocabulary. He talks Zambian, but there is not 1 ounce of patriotism in him. Okay? So here it is. You've got a guy who flies the American flag, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. I mean, what the hell is that for? Okay? Number one. Number two, you have a guy who flies only his party flag, but he doesn't fly his Zambian flag, but he doesn't have a membership card. He cannot prove to you conclusively that he's a member. And so on one hand, he claims he's a member of the party. On the other hand, the party says, no, he's not our member. Confusion, because the concept of the membership card has been eroded. It's been obliterated. It's been removed. It's been annihilated. People don't know what loyalty is anymore. You can say today you belong to a political party. Within 2 weeks, You can switch and change. No, I belong to that one over there. Well, can you prove to us you belong to that political party? No, I can't show you. Me, just know that I'm with them. Abantu bandi badya. Nga membership card yenu iri ku yo if you have card twaleka ni mumutima. So consequently, you have people that can say today they belong to this group, tomorrow they can belong to that group. No principle. So here's my take. I think we as Zambians should reintroduce the concept of membership cards so that you can be identified. Guys, if a guy walks up to me, I'm just trying to get this cable. Sorry. I keep fidgeting with this. If a man walks up to me, I mean, it happens here all the time. A guy walks into my office. He says to me, I'm from so-and-so. The very first thing I'm going to ask him is, can I see some ID? Now, it's not strange for me to ask for that. It's normal. What that does is that it sort of gives me a reference point. It sort of gives me some bearings as far as he's concerned. It gives me an idea who he is or who he claims to be. I mean, anybody can just walk up to you and say anything. When someone walks to your house, knocks on your door, and they say to you, I am from Zesco. The first thing you say is, show me your card. I mean, show me your ID. It's normal. So I think all political parties should reintroduce membership cards. What do you think? Give me a call on this number and tell me. Don't WhatsApp me, guys. Just call. No WhatsApp. Okay? So the question is, should we bring back membership cards? And if you think that, tell me why you think that. Give me a call on that number. That is the number, isn't it? Yes, that is the number. Call me on that number if you can. And the question is, should we bring back membership card? Party membership cards. Already someone is there. Mr. Mwewa, please just get to the point. I gave you the point. You guys just want me to jump headfirst in the deep end. Come on, guys, I have to build. You know, every story, I keep telling you, every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay? Somebody says here, I only have Wi-Fi, WhatsApp only. No, don't call me on WhatsApp. Just call me directly. I'm going to have to add an extra number to this platform for you to call me on WhatsApp. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Mwewa.
A very good morning to you. Who am I speaking with?
You're talking to Gregory Kalava.
Hey, Gregory, go ahead, brother.
Yes, actually, the topic is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's very important that these parties should introduce these membership cards.
Yes.
Yes, so that people can be identified easily. Because you know what is happening is that people are claiming to be in different political parties of which we don't even know if it's true. Like you have said about innocent.
Balanda fipakanwa.
Kwai apo pena apo twaliba muna ma American yadi shibikwa. Nomba kushema Zambians bali pa PF chachine. So aho twatotera pa kuleta topic twamikonka wino sana. Abama political parties bafuire babika po membership.
Yes.
Yes, these membership cards, and they shouldn't be at a fee that people won't be able to afford. You know, the economy is bad.
Yes.
Yes, so would appreciate if these political parties can reduce on those membership cards, then people should register.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mwewa.
God bless.
God bless.
There you go. Hello. Great. So give me a call on that number. Hey there. Are you there? Hey.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Go ahead.
Talking to Brian, Mr. Mwewa. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Please go ahead and give us your comment or contribution.
This is a contribution.
Yes, sir.
Yes. The topic is quite interesting.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, sir. I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay. The topic is very interesting, like I said earlier on. Like you earlier on, you mentioned something like Mr. Sata, the mistake that he ever made, the biggest mistake that he ever made.
He ever made.
Yes.
Right.
For him to remove the part membership card.
Yes.
Yeah, I think for me, at that particular time, it was okay, like you lightly put it. Because the fear that Mr. Sata had, I think it was, these defection issues. So I think the fears were, if today they say, no, this grouping has defected, these particular members have defected to the other party, they'll go on TV, then, start displaying the membership cards, of which Mr. Sata sort of was not kind of really pleased with that kind of an arrangement.
Yes, sir.
So instead, he opted to say, since these guys are, especially the MMD people by then, they are claiming to say these are our members, and not really claiming, because they used to display, cards, and ban cards, the tier cards. So
they're tear cards.
At that particular point in time, I think Mr. Sata was like, okay, to show that we don't have members by card, let's just say membership is in our heart.
Yeah.
I think at that particular moment in time, it really worked.
But what do you think about it now? Do you think it's still relevant to have that idea now?
I don't really think so. But now I think we, like you likely put it, we should reconsider that particular position. I think the cards should be introduced to avoid the likes of the Kalimanshis and these other hooligans that we've started experiencing.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. God bless.
Yeah. God bless. Thanks.
I must warn you, and this goes to the immigration department. Zambia is being infiltrated at a very high level by people that claim to be Zambian, and they're not. It's a serious, we've seen these truckloads of containers full of people coming through. And our power structures being infiltrated by illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants. Hello? And it's a cause for concern. Hello, sir. Go ahead.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Chitambala Mwewa.
A very good morning to you, sir.
My name is Ruben.
Hi, Ruben. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm one of the people who follows what you do. Especially, I like the part where you teach the English language. Thank you.
Ruben, please speak up. Just speak up a bit, please.
I'm saying I like the part where you your area of interest when you're teaching how on English language.
Oh, thank you. Please go ahead.
Very good. I think my suggestion to you would be that that's a very, very good program, which I think you must maybe enter some form of treaty with the Ministry of Education, so that maybe you could be aired on radio, national radio, and television for the benefit of the pupils.
Thank you, brother. That's a good idea.
Sorry?
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah, the standards of English in Zambia have been falling, but I think people like you could be good ambassadors and good teachers to be appearing online. Now, coming to the topic at hand.
Yes, sir.
I think some of the callers that have spoken before me have alluded to the fact that, the late President, Mr. Michael Sata, was a very, very intelligent politician. One of the things that he learned along his political path was the fact that there was a very, very big contribution coming from perception. And maybe if I can focus on the point, Mr. Sata thought by having a political party membership card, once they are in wrong hands and once they are displayed for wrong reasons, that will have a tendency to bring down your party, because the perception to the public will be so and so. For example, if we let's talk about defection, when obviously political parties campaign for numbers, they want to outwit each other. They say, we've got bigger number in this is a no-go area. You know the political language that they use. So one of the things they will use is they're going to group some people and then pretend they're coming from your party, that they've resigned, and also just to show the rest of the country that this party is now getting weaker and weaker, because look at the amount of people in their strong area, which is now which has resigned and joining our party, for example. If that time it was a ruling party. So Mr. Sata didn't want to be having nightmares, for lack of a better thing, coming from that area. So the intelligent solution that he came up with was, let's not have political party, let's not have PF membership card. Because if you are a Zambian who wants a better Zambia and your heart is genuinely bleeding that Zambia is not where it is not supposed to be today, then you're a member of PF. And if you looked at what was happening to the economy at the time, everybody wants development. Everybody thinks that our country is 44 decades behind. So you wanted our country to be when it's supposed to be. So by your heart being in that position, you become a veteran member of the PF. And that was a type of perception that Mr. Sata wanted now to market. And I think that helped get the numbers, especially wooing the youth, because the majority of our population is youth, and that's how the numbers slowly started trickling to his side. And the result came in 2011, managed to offset MMD. But coming to what has happened today, where now we have...
can I just stop you there? Can I just stop you there for a moment and just tell you that the way you've articulated that is perfect. I mean, the way you've described that, and you've described his line of logic in achieving his ultimate goal, which was to win the election. But the way you've described that is perfect. Go ahead.
Thanks. So now, coming to my second point, we now come into this era where the PF is in power, and where every Jim and Jack wants to mention that a member of the party
for
something, even for wrong deeds, they want to they want to intimidate the other party. They say now that now has shown its disadvantage, because every criminal wants to steal. They will say Ndwamchipani because there is no proof, because the membership of the PF is not by a card, is by claimants. Once you claim Ndwamchipani, then you are a member. Or once you are wearing the party regalia or the party apparel, then you are a member. And that's now a very, very big disadvantage, because now, even for the police, if there is some criminal activities around a group of people that are in green, now without a camera, for example, how do you now pick, or how do you report that it's a PF? Because once you say a PF, the leadership will come to the station and defend to say, look, not everyone who wears green is our member. And those are the downsides of not having a membership card. The second reason why Mr. Sata didn't want cards, actually I didn't mention, was the fact that it would be pointless to be spending money on certain articles or certain things that can easily be replicated for wrong results. That was enough. And why should, as a party, spend money printing cards when we can use that money for mobilization, for campaign, in order to spread the manifesto of the party? So at one point, one of my cousins was privileged to attend one of the inner circle meetings where he was actually suggesting that I would rather have manifestos printed in lieu of membership cards, which I support. Because if you look at today's parties, it's very difficult to even see their ideological standpoint. Some of the parties, you don't know what their manifestos are. Because a political party should have a manifesto. A manifesto is a strategy, which when they come into power, they will now use all their valuable government functions to turn around, if it's the education sector, if it's the agricultural sector, using the tenants or using the outputs that they want to come out of anything that they plan of the manifesto.
Wow.
And then the manifesto should also show the key KPIs, what we call key performance indicators. They tell you in 10 years, Zambia should move from this level of economic activity to the next level. And the key performance indicators will be employment. We want to move it by 5% in 5 years. This by this percent. This inflation should come down. They must be key performance indicators, and we must hold them accountable. After 5 years, those are things you should say, look, you told us in 5 years that inflation is going to drop by 5 base points. And employment is going to drop by this percentage, but we are not where we are. And as a result, we don't think you should continue managing our affairs of the country. So we look for an alternative. That should be the basis. And not who dances the most, not who has the best song, not who has the big wigs in commas. This big wig has joined this political party. Then we're just going round in circles.
What's your name, son?
And that's why
What is your name again?
Ruben,
you're fantastic. Ruben, thank you for that. You are such a valuable Zambian, and I'm so proud of you. You said that so well. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Ngamamfati Zambian, emwina Zambio yo. Na ishwa fiade landa. By chava. Fiade sambidira. So para chari. Don't make me start dancing up in here, because I will. Goodness. Hello? Hello? Are you there? There's a word. I have a word for you that I need to I need to share something with you here. Can you hear me? We're living in a time now, and it's wrong. And the guys know this. They know this. And this is they're criminal elements that have infiltrated the power structure of our country. And they know this. Right now, if you want to break a traffic law, all you do is take a chitenga and put it on your dashboard. You can stop anywhere, do anything. Wrong. It shouldn't be that way. This is the reason you have young people who commit crimes, and then the party denounces them. They say, no, those are not our members. Tebantu besubadia. Bantu benu tebeswiyo. Reason, tabakwatama membership cards. You can't go and verify. Bantu nga mwamu mwana pa Facebook. Infeshi fie. Infeshi. Kumona fe. Nga ureni nani? Nichite. Nichibamba wakuntwani. Wakaso. Ekala kwa kasomo kuchinsali. Bule ni roster. Checking in. Member, opwadi. Ni member number 674. Kwa kasomo kuchinsali. Number these days awe. Sure. Ni olo. Hello? Hello? Hey there. Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, they can't get me. I'm not sure why. The phone it's come through, but I'm not sure. I don't know why it's not coming through. Hello? So really that has to change. If you have broken the law, regardless of who you are, you should be able to face those. You know what I saw? Sorry to keep referring to him, but I have to because this is the truth. It really happened. I've made reference to this before, and I'll say it again, and I'll never stop saying it because I can't stomach this sort of thing. 2 weeks before Innocent Kalimanshi's vehicle was destroyed, I was driving over the Arcades Bridge, and I'll finish that story. Hello? If we can get this caller. This is an international caller. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hi, how are you, Mr. Mwewa?
Bless you. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is, okay, I'm going to keep myself anonymous.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm enjoying your show. You know, I'm preparing my Zambian breakfast over here, and I'm really enjoying your show. And I'm a youth. And, you know, funny thing is that I haven't lived in Zambia for a long time.
Okay.
And I'm actually hearing about these membership cards that we used to have once upon a time. Because I think I came back to Zambia around about the time when Michael Sata won the presidency. And, you know, I was thinking to myself this morning, you know, it's the next government that comes in, whether it be in PF or UPND, needs to change, up their game with a few changes, okay? You can bring in some of those old virtues like the membership cards, because we're seeing this with guys like Arena GDM, Arena, the guy, and it's not really working out for the country. I think everybody, and I'm sorry to say this, but everybody that's joining CF right now is probably joining CF because of what they can probably take financially or what they can benefit. They're not doing it because they're patriots towards the country. They're not doing it because of the manifesto of CF or anything like that, but because everybody's seeing that if you're wearing green and you've got Arena Chagwalungu's photo on your t-shirt, then you're benefiting something. Everybody wants to do it because they want to benefit. So you'll see how many people would want to deflect to UPND if UPND won. And it's not supposed to be like that. If you represent a particular party, that's the whole you it, you live in it. Don't deflect whenever you want to, because you're causing a lot of confusion, one, and you're not doing it for the advantage and benefit of the rest of Zambia, but you're doing it for the advantage and benefit of yourself. And that's not good, you know. So I'd say that we should actually reintroduce those party membership cards, and in order for you to deflect to another party, you know, it needs to be a vote amongst a community, a committee in a party, why this person wants to deflect into your party and for what can they bring to the table? Like each and everybody, not just any individual who wants to be a hooligan or purports to be something all in the name of a political party. That to me, Zambia is in a very dire situation right now. And the only way we can change Zambia is through our mindset and also to change just a whole lot of things about the way we look at things in Zambia. It's not all about the money. You know, don't think about your home, think about your community. Because if you don't, you know, what the privileges we have right now, our children are not going to have. You know, things are only going to go downhill if we're going to just look at our homes and not our community. So
great point.
That's the contribution I wanted to make. I would like to encourage a whole lot of Zambians that, look, don't deflect to a party because you want a new smartphone, you want a new car, you're doing a song because you want to feed your family. don't let people be misled. When you have the opportunity to actually change the situation, don't change it because you're going to support your party, your pocket first. Change the situation because God is giving you that ability to change the situation. You make a presidential song, go for the right leader, not for the guy who's going to give you the most amount of money.
Okay? Thank you for that, son.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
At the end of the day, there's a lot of lives that are going to be either saved by you or brought down by you because of what you did, because of the party you chose, because of what you thought you would gain as an individual and not what you thought your community would gain. Being a true patriot is being selfless. It's not about what you're going to earn from it. It's what your children, what your neighbor's children, what your neighbor is going to earn from it.
Thank you so much, son. Thank you, son.
Yeah.
So God bless.
That's my contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, son. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Chitambala.
Mkwai.
Mwabombeni sir.
Wino. Nga Mwewa. Mkwai, please go ahead.
All right. Okay. Nine Mwila, by the way.
Mkwai ba Mwila.
Mkwai. I would like to speak to the education sector because there's one of the callers, Abachala and Popakum, encourage on trying to talk with some ZNBC for a slot for your reading culture and just the English language itself. I think that's the way to go, Mwewa. I would also encourage you to do that. You remember Chongololo? Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember that. The Chongololo. It's the club love. Yes.
Yes, exactly. I don't know if it's still running Chongololo. We need such kind of, programs for our children. Because this abana besu balesambira mwandini fiena fide tinya nokutinyanga watu makunga ndati ndande kona abana sure.
I don't mean to laugh, but that was funny. Go ahead.
Yeah, then So then the other thing is I know you're talking about Sata's line of thinking, and I think on the card I want to touch on it because Ruben has said it so well. It's like he spoke my mind.
Yeah, wasn't he brilliant? Oh my goodness, that kid is amazing.
Yeah, he was on point. So I would like just to stick on the education sector and on the issue which is now attached to the now running mate to ECL Valuo. If we remember very well, ama conflicts yapa unza, most of them were related to the delay of the so-called BC Mwewa allowance. And from the time this has been taken away from them, I think now it's kuna usiongo pa my university where students are rioting and all that. So there's that benefit which comes with that. And then the other thing was, what was the principle behind removing the BC? The government sat down and said, okay, because if you are on a bursary, by the way, I was one of the beneficiaries, bursary for University of Zambia. So if they give you a bursary, you get your new allowance by then, you get your project allowance, you get your, accommodation and all that. So government, we've got all this going on with a few students. Why can't we take off one? And we can't take off the project. It's very cardinal to them. We cannot take off the accommodation. It's very cardinal to them. We can't take off the tuition. It's very cardinal. So to new allowance, which they in their wisdom thought students will manage and kick that money to other students to benefit to be on the bursary scheme. At least navena babalipirira kwa school accommodation, babalipirira kwa project allowance. And the figures are there to show right now. There are more students on the bursary, government, than there were before. So I think it was a wise
decision, though painful, but it was a benefit to other students as well. Wabakopa government benefit nabena.
Okay.
So I thought I should add that to your program, Mwewa.
Thank
Otherwise,
you.
one in your program is top of the range, Mwewa.
Well, thank you.
Try to see how you can go on the mainstream.
Well, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. And thank you for that contribution.
Thank you, Mwewa.
Bless you. You too.
Well, thank you. Try to see how you can
Hello?
go on the mainstream.
Well, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that.
Are you there?
For that contribution.
Thank you, Mwewa.
Bless you. You too.
Okay, guys, I have to tell you this story. I've told this story before, and I'm going to have to. So I'm driving along the bridge opposite Arcades, and this is what we call the flyover bridge, okay? And parked at the very apex of the bridge, the highest point of the bridge. This was 2 weeks before his car was destroyed over there during that fracas. You know what a fracas is? During that fracas over there at the PF Secretariat, you know, where innocent Kalimanshi was attacked and beaten. And he had parked his car right at the top of the bridge. And as I was driving, I was going in the opposite direction. He was parked in the opposite direction. So I was driving past him, and I drove past him very slowly to see if maybe there was a problem. Maybe the car broke down. His hazards were not on. And when I drove past him, his window was, he'd rolled down his window. And I looked at him, and he was in there with a couple of his homeboys. And they were just on the phone. He was just on the phone, just talking and laughing. I mean, I don't know what he was talking about or what he was saying, but I could clearly see he stopped there because he just wanted to stop there. There was no reason for him to stop there. Now, the first thing that came to my mind was that anyone that's coming from behind him who thinks that his car is in motion, who thinks that his car is in play, can easily run straight into him. But because in his mind, he can flout the law, he can break the law, he can do whatever the hell he wants, to the point where he parks his car on top of the flyover bridge. Why? Simply because he's innocent. Kalimanshi, the Americans. Whatever happened to not only are you putting yourself in harm's way, but you're putting other Zambians in harm's way. What if some, and this is what was going through my mind. What if some young girl, and I've deliberately said young girl because, young girl who's just learned how to drive, she's not that proficient at driving. What if this young student is driving behind Innocent's car and she's going at the speed limit and she doesn't realize that the car up ahead is actually stationary? It's stagnant. It's not moving. Because, sometimes, sometimes when you're driving, the cars in front of you give you the illusion that they're in play, that they're in motion. But they're not. They're stagnant. What if some young girl just runs straight into his car? Guess what would happen? She could potentially die, but guess what? He could just get another car. For what? For what? And I guarantee you, if a police officer, and this is what needs to change. This is something that the current administration needs to deal with. When a person, whoever it is, whether it's red, blue, pink, or blue, or yellow, whoever the heck they are, when they break the law, don't let them get away with it. Don't do that. I guarantee you, if a police officer in a cop car saw innocent Kalimanshi parked at the peak of a bridge, and that officer stopped and came out of his car and walked over to Innocent and said, "Hey man, what are you doing?" Do you have any idea what Innocent would have said to him? A police officer in uniform? I know what I'm talking about. I know how these guys think. He'd simply look at the officer and say, "If you know what's good for you, get back in that car and be on your way." Why? What the hell for, man? That's wrong, and it should not be tolerated. So, and he's just a guy that he just claims to be a party member. How do we know that? We don't know that. I've never seen his card. He's never shown us his party card. He's never. It was just a few years ago, he was a member of the Reds. Did we see his card when he was a member of the Reds? We didn't see it. Now he claims to be a member of the Reds. We don't know that. So the point is, anybody can stand up and claim anything in the name of Ichipani. And then you guys, my friends over there at the Green Party, then you guys have the task of having to hold press conferences to denounce these guys. No, in fact, uja muntuja si member atuja. Remember the joker that went to the Ministry of Works and Supply, and he pulled out a civil servant and he broke a government seal by threatening a civil servant in a government building on government property. He went and he threatened a civil servant, and he claimed to be a member of the party, and he was wearing regalia. What happened? The party denounced him. They said, no, in fact, that one, ujasimuntu watuja. Why? Because the guy just stands up. He just steps up and says, no, me, I'm a member. But where are you a member? Show us. Where's your card? When did you become a member? Tirangise. Picture yako pa card ilikuti. Wala mdala. Nothing. Pakanwafia. Anyone can claim anything. It is ridiculous for a stranger to walk into my office here and say, I'm from Lusaka City Council. And ine kwatichi pululu, because I'm Dwanzi, I accept. Oh, you're from Lusaka City Council. Oh, okay. Here are the... No, man. The first thing I'm going to ask you, homie, is show me your card. Show me your ID. Tell me where you're coming from. So is it strange that we would ask that you guys change the whole political landscape? Reintroduce cards. It'll help you. So that way, when you deny that he's your member, they can just say, no. Membership card yake ni. And he was inducted on such and such a date. All of you political parties need to do that, I think. So in my view, lastly, and I've been on here for 59 minutes and I can't take any more calls. My last admonition, please reintroduce membership cards. God bless you. Bye.